Hi, my name is Linry, and this is my review of Starrely's new nail art brushes. Now, I just want to make sure this is 100% clear and upfront. I have used these brushes a grand total of 3 times since receiving them. 6 months from now, I will be doing a recap to see if my grievances stay or anything changes. I purchased these brushes with my own money, and I only purchased 2 of them. That would be the Micro Point and the Nano Point. Also, I want to make sure it is very, very clear that I weigh cost of things very, very heavily. So let's talk about what you would receive for a $15 brush. For the Starrily brush, you will receive a holster that holds your brush. You will also receive the brush, but the brush also comes with a cap, which is really nice if you travel with your brushes. You will also receive a little how-to guide on the back of this. There's a QR code, which if you scan on your phone, will take you to a tutorial. It gives you a full-on ebook of how to take care of your brushes, and it gives you some nail arts to attempt, which I thought was really nice. So let's talk about the pros. The pros, this brush is heavy. My goodness gracious, I can feel a direct difference between my other nail art brushes. This brush weighs 13 grams, where my Holo Taco nail art brush, it is not advertised as weighted, nor is it weighted. But if you have the Holo Taco brush, that weighs 6 grams. So this brush weighs over double what my Holo Taco does. It feels really nice. And I can feel how heavy it is. And you think 13 grams isn't that heavy, but when you're dealing with brushes and pencils, you can definitely feel that weight. And yes. I am already default reaching for these. When I switched to my Warhammer mini painting brush, I immediately switched off my Holo Taco brush to that one because that brush felt a little bit nicer in my hands, and I just started, without thinking, reaching for that. Since I've got these brushes, immediately I'm just reaching up, grabbing these. I'm not reaching for any other brush besides these ones. So in this next part, I'm not gonna have any visuals. I emailed Starrily about showing some images of their ebook, and they've yet to respond, so I don't know if it's okay or not. But the website and the little bookmark both say exclusive, and I don't know anything about anything, so I would rather be safe than sorry. So apologies for the lack of visuals. Like I said in the beginning, it came with an ebook that was full of useful information that I found even at an expert brush level and a beginner level. I felt like it was very, very intuitive, and its information was vast. And I found that its information was very balanced on teaching beginners how to take care of the brushes and experts how to take care of the brushes. It also came with tutorials. I have yet to watch the video tutorials, but they have picture tutorials and video tutorials of nail art looks to try, and they look to be of varying skill levels, which I appreciate. And there were 5 different techniques to try, and they seem to be quite relevant to what most people are painting. They did butterflies, lines. It seemed very, very encompassing of what someone would want. Okay, so I have now since watched the video tutorials. I think they're alright, they're pretty good. I would suggest Starrily add captions to the video tutorials. They do seem to be embedded in YouTube in a strange way, because the butterfly tutorial for some reason links me directly to a dead YouTube link. So I think they're embedded in YouTube somehow, but I don't have the accessibility options that I do on YouTube, so I can't have the auto-generated captions pop up. That would be my only critique about their video tutorials. I think captions would be very nice, and you know, CapCut is very cheap and affordable, so just auto-generate those captions, and I feel like it would just bump up the quality. The brushes look beautiful. On their own, they look absolutely beautiful. It has some loose glitter in there in the hollow, and it just looks really nice in my brush cup, you know? I think that it looks very, very nice. The caps and the name of the brush are acetone resistant, which is really, really nice, as these things do have a tendency to touch acetone. Skinny. Oh my god, these brushes are skinny legends. They are by far the skinniest brushes I own comparatively to all of my other brushes. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh yes, they are so skinny and pointy. Delicious. Like, the closest brush I own to this is double its thickness. Perfection. Now, these are meh points. points that I don't really care that much about. These are mostly, yes, I can see how this would be useful, but for me and how I use things, I don't see it being very useful. The caps. Honestly, you can tell the caps are a bit cheaper made than the brushes, but that's fine because I don't use caps. Now, the caps do fit on very snugly, they don't come off, and they feel like they are well attached, so if you're someone who actually caps their brushes, this will be nice. It's not gonna just fall off and wiggle off. If you're someone who travels with your brushes, this is something you want, but I don't travel with my brushes, so I don't need to protect my brushes whatsoever. They're just gonna sit in a cup. If I ever move houses, then yeah, I'll cap my brushes, but honestly, this is gonna sit in a drawer and then I'm gonna forget about it. I don't really need the caps, but it is expected. It is expected to have it. The gemstones on the butt. Now, the gemstones are there so you can tell which brush is apart from the other if your brushes are capped. Honestly, I find what's more effective is the fact that the name of the brush is written on this. So this is my macro. I don't have to look at this gemstone. And honestly, even in Starrly's own promo photos of this, at flattering angles for the gemstones, I'm having a hard time differentiating 3 of those caps from the others. So I feel like when they're gonna be sitting in a cup, they're gonna be very hard to see. They don't protrude enough for me to be able to see them and be like, ah, the blue one, that's my micro. I think if they wanted this to be a bit more effective, those gemstones definitely need to protrude just a little bit more. But again, the name is on it. That's all you need, and it's acetone resistant. You only need the name. And honestly, the fastest way I identify my brushes is just by looking at them. They don't sit capped. But that's if you do cap them. Now, to reshape your brushes, Starrly says to put them in hot water. I did that. I actually put my brushes in somewhat boiling water. I just made tea on my tea kettle, and I found that the micro point did reshape itself. It did bring itself back together, which was really nice and stopped it from splaying too much. But my nano point still hasn't come back together. I spent a good 5 minutes fucking with it, twisting it, pinching it, spinning it around how I normally make points with my brushes and how I normally bring my brushes back to a point, and my nano point is still splayed a little. And I just think that the nano point has so few hairs on it that it just can't hold its shape well unless it has polish on it. So I'm giving it a meh point just because the micro was able to be put back together, but the nano was not. So meh. Now we're into the cons, the wrath of Con. The plastic that holds the loose glitter in here is not acetone resistant. I don't understand why it's not. I tested this live on stream even though I had already read the instructions, and I pretty much have experience with these kind of handles before, and I know they aren't acetone resistant. I just wanted to test it to make sure, so now we all know this is not acetone resistant. I have destroyed one of my brushes already. But it was all in the name of just making sure I had a full-fledged review. The loose glitter in here, I find that to be a con because the loose glitter does move. Even though this only happened twice in one live stream, the loose glitter like reflected a light and I was able to kind of catch it in the corner of my eyes, and it just distracted me, but it happened twice. I would have much rather not have anything just moving in my brush to distract me while I'm trying to paint my nails. It was just a minor annoyance, but it is something negative that happened nonetheless. The gun holster. What the fuck is the point of this? I call this the gun holster because it has like this little thing, and I imagine someone just strapping it onto their belt and just being like, this town ain't big enough for the two of us, partner, and then just blasting each other with a stupid holster. No one is gonna use this again. I am so sorry. I keep trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, but if you're traveling with your brushes because you are a nail tech, you're not gonna put your Starrly brush in its own little packaging. You're gonna put the cap on and you're gonna throw it with the rest of your brushes. You're not gonna individually carry these things. They just take up space. It doesn't provide any extra protection because, you know, it's pleather. It's just not gonna work. Also, if you did decide to reuse it, you put your brush back in here, you can't snap it. You can't snap it easily. When you try to snap it, it slips. Obviously, this was not well thought out. Personally, I just don't think it was well thought out. And honestly, I would have just vastly preferred Starrily just to give me a cardboard box that my nail brushes were in. That's what I just would have preferred, because at least I can recycle the box. What the fuck am I gonna do with this? It's just gonna collect dust on my shelf because it fits a nail art brush in it, and that's it. I guess I could holster my toothbrush. Maybe I could use it to carry a toothbrush for traveling, but it's why? My brushes are splaying quickly. My bristles are starting to split very quickly. Now, there is no such thing as a acetone proof brush. That just does not exist, and the best you can aim for is acetone resistant. Acetone is such a harsh chemical that obviously we've all experienced it. It's destroyed wood furnishing, it melts plastic, certain kinds of plastics, and it's just not like, it's not a very good chemical to put on your brushes, but you need to put it on your brushes. Though at the $15 price point, I did expect my brush to last a little bit longer than its first dip in acetone before it started splaying. Honestly, I'm experiencing a lot of issues with my nano point as I'm having to take a longer time to form a point, though when I get that point it is very, very nice. But I did just expect my brushes to last just a teeny bit longer before I started experiencing this. Though for my macro point, it did reshape itself when I dipped it in hot water. My macro point is listing lazily to the left. After its first touch of acetone, it just did this. I don't know why, but now it's just kind of at an angle. I didn't expect that to happen, but I have to imagine maybe the acetone loosened some of the glue that's holding something in here. But yeah, it's just slightly crooked now, so that's not that big of a deal, but you know, still a con. And the last con, it's the price point. $15 was hard to swallow. $30 for 2 brushes. Ah, that's so expensive. Though a lot of brushes have that price point, so you know, it's fine. It's just a hard pill to swallow. You know, I had a hard time purchasing from Holo Taco when I first started getting into nail polish because it was so expensive, but nice things cost money. It's just the unfortunate truth. Nice things cost money, though I am a Dollar Tree hoe, so. So my overall thoughts and feelings on this, and feelings of how I would improve this brush. Personally, I would make the gemstones protrude just a teeny bit more because they are supposed to signify what brush they are. I don't feel like they are doing what they're supposed to do. Secondly, I would change out this plastic. The brushes right now in my hands, 3 times using them, look absolutely stunning. But it does not matter how you use your nail art brushes, eventually at some point, it's going to roll through polish or you're gonna drop it in polish. So, unfortunately, temporarily, these brushes will look beautiful, but in the long run, they are gonna be destroyed. They're gonna look ugly, they're gonna be covered with nail polish that you won't be able to remove, which I feel like Starrily did sacrifice, you know, them looking beautiful in the long run for them to look beautiful in the temporary. I would prefer this entire thing to be somewhat metal, like the tip of the brush. That way I could preserve its beauty a bit longer, because currently my Holo Taco brush and my Warhammer painting brush, I can clean it with acetone. I can remove all the splotches of polish that are on it. I can restore them both to some form of beauty, but my $15 brush, it's just gonna look ugly always, which is very unfortunate. I would skip this. I would immediately drop this. I don't know how much these cost to make, and I don't know how much they added to the price point of the brushes, but I can guarantee you, I have talked to several people, and no one can come up with a use for these. No one can come up with a use for them. I just keep joking around that they're a little gun holster, but I mean, that's all the value I get out of this. It's just a little funny joke. It adds nothing to my brushes, and it's not gonna do anything. And I'm trying to be as charitable as possible, trying to think of how someone would use this again with their nail art brushes, and I just can't come up with a way. I just can't. I would ditch these for cardboard boxes. Cardboard boxes are probably a lot cheaper in the long run. Again, I don't know anything about manufacturing. Maybe this was technically cheaper, but I kind of doubt it. Also, I kind of like the idea of Starrily just continuously releasing new nail art videos. I think that would be really, really cool. I'd like to see Starrily doing a little bit more. I know they've already produced 5 of them, but honestly, I would like to see them continuing to do that more. I don't know if that's something that would give them any monetary benefit, but I would like to see when new nail art trends drop, I would love to see Starrily just capitalize on that a little bit and release tutorials with their brushes. I feel like that would be 10 out of 10. Yes. So personally, right now, would I repurchase these brushes? Yes. I would 100% repurchase them, even with all the issues I mentioned. Again, I'm being very nitpicky, but it's $15, so I'm valuing every single thing about this brush. And you know, this is a absorbent price point for a brush, so I want a luxury experience from my brush. I want to feel nice. Currently, right now, these brushes feel very, very nice. They are now my default brushes. I keep reaching for them and I am so, so happy with them. No regrets whatsoever. We'll see how I feel in the 6-month mark if I can keep this up. I don't think my nano brush will destroy itself. I think this is probably how it's just going to be, and I just have to twist my brush when it's in polish. I want to specifically say though, I take care of my brushes. After I'm finished painting my nails, I oil every single one of my brushes. I just default oil them, so I'm taking care of them. I oil them with jojoba oil and vitamin E. The Starrily thing says to rinse your brushes with water, which duh, makes sense. So if you want to make sure your brushes stay in tip-top shape, make sure to follow their instructions. Though I don't think washing it after every single use would have saved my nano point, as it started doing it immediately after it touched acetone. I just want to put right here that I have spoken to another friend who also owns the nano brush, and they take care of their brushes the exact same way I do. They don't rinse them, they just put them in jojoba oil at the end of use, and their brush has not splayed yet. Maybe I got a bit of a defective brush because I have a lot of experience with nail art brushes and this one just splayed so quickly. So it's a little bit weird that 2 of us are taking care of our brushes the exact same way and one of us is experiencing some major splaying. Also, I forgot to add that they have used their brush the same amount of times I've used mine. So those were my thoughts and feelings on the new Starrily brush. Now, oh, hi. Now, I don't feel safe in recommending things when I've only used it 3 times, so currently right now I'm not recommending it, but my overall experience with these brushes has been fully positive. I have enjoyed it. I am enjoying painting with these brushes. I'm having a lot of satisfaction watching polish go down, and I just really value that experience of painting my nails, and Starrily has elevated my experience of painting my nails. So I am valuing that a lot. Also, I kind of don't like recommending really expensive things. I would say if you are in the market for a very skinny brush, Starrily is a very good way to go. But if you have very limited experience with nail art brushes and just brushes in general, I would just start with a cheapy set. Just buy a couple cheap brushes and then figure everything out. Figure out what you enjoy from painting. If you are a beginner and this is your first nail art set, I think that would be somewhat a mistake. I don't think this should be anyone's first nail art set, as I do think the price point is pretty high for that. Though if you're someone who constantly paints their nails, is constantly doing nail art and whatnot, I can safely say I have thoroughly enjoyed my experience with the Starrily brushes I own. And again, of course, I will be giving you an update in 6 months to see how these brushes last. I think that will be the most telling part of all of this, is how long they last. So, I have to ask the question, do you think they are worth it? Did you pick these up? I know there was a lot of hype for these brushes, and then a lot of people were like, whoa, sticker shock, which is 100% understandable. I was that way too. I was like, hype, and then I saw the sticker and I was like, whoa, not getting the full set, boys. We're getting a couple. I hope this video answered any questions you had about the Starrily brush, and I hope it was extremely concise on just my thoughts and feelings. I hope you enjoyed my video. Bye. You all were it just looks really nice in my nail art brush cat. Oh, I popped a peely. Where did it go? Catch that on camera? The fuck? Pop my thumb. I'm having a hard time differentiate. They don't protrude enough for it to just. They don't protrude. Again, before I started experiencing, it's just listing lazily to the left or right. Yeah, it's just listing tipsy turvsies out immediately after it touched acetone.